ahead and begin with a warm-up, and we're going to set ourselves up for our footwork. So I have on a comfortable spring tension, which is 2 mediums and 1 heavy, because we will get into some single leg work after our double leg work. So when you're ready, lie yourself down. Let's take that headrest to a nice flat position and allow your feet to rest carefully on the ledge of the reformer. Arms are down by your sides, and just begin to become centered as we rock the pelvis back. Peel the spine away from the carriage. Take a breath here, and then begin to roll and articulate the spine down. Allow that tailbone to release. And at the same time, as you start to move through the articulation of each repetition, activate through the back side of the legs here. Press firmly into your arms as we open wide through the collarbone. The goal is to keep those knees tracking nicely with the hips and also with those ankles. So if you feel like they're splaying apart or they're pulling in together, see what necessary changes and modifications you can make for yourself here. Beautiful. Relax through that neck. Allow the shoulders to drop away from those ears as we create space. And as we peel ourselves up here, take that breath, hold, exhale, really draw that belly button in as you roll and gently lie that spine back down again. Grab a hold of your pegs from behind or your shoulder blocks and taking one leg at a time in that tabletop position. Hug those knees together as if they were a unit. Elbows are wide. Gently rock those legs over like a pendulum to the right-hand side, pulling in through center. Take it to the other side and use your exhalation to pull through center. So it's an inhale over with the legs. It's an exhale walking through center. Good. Not necessarily walking, but pulling in through center. Allow those toes to reach away from you as you really hold a nice, strong, active tabletop here. Again, knees are hugging. So again, if you had a $100 bill between your knees, squeeze onto that to hang on. Beautiful. Take it over and use your exhale to pull up through center. Beautiful job here. Take those arms straight up and crunch it up for 100 prep. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, we reach. The shoulders are nicely adjusted away from our ears. Our arms are active. They're long. They're reaching in opposition with the toes as the head reaches to the back of the room. Hug that belly button towards the floor. Last one. And bring it back down. So taking your left hand over your right hand, curl it up and reach to the right hip. So we're going into this oblique prep here, this oblique reach, where we really want to lift that left shoulder off the carriage here, keeping the legs in a very stable position. Beautiful. Just crossing over the midline here. Let's do the other side. Right hand over left, reach it on over. And it's about 5 to 6 repetitions here. If you'd like to add more, feel free. But again, this is our warm-up. It is just preparing us for the workout flow. Beautiful. And bring it back down. Good. Let's go ahead and you can adjust the headrest back to a halfway position if that feels nice for you. Our springs are already loaded. And then let's find the arches of our feet on that foot bar as we gently press into the foot bar to straight legs. Just get a sense of how that feels as we open up the muscles from the bottom of our feet and awaken the intrinsic and sleepy muscles in our feet. Loosen and break down any stiffness, any tightness. And as we continue to track along here with our legs, allow those kneecaps to point up towards the ceiling. You want to think of pulling and resisting the carriage as you drag it back in to really feel the hamstring activation here. Again, we're going to go ahead and move it down to the toes. Let's slightly elevate those heels. Challenge your ankles here for mobility. Challenge all of those toes to work the intrinsic muscles of the feet as we begin to strengthen each of the metatarsals here. And it's this nice fine line as you press out. Beautiful job. It's a very active press to straight legs and a very active dragging in with the hamstrings, the back side of the legs here. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and glue those heels together, toes apart, staying on the toes. Squeezing through those inner thighs as you zip up from the ankles all the way towards your pelvic floor, drawing your belly button in a little bit deeper away from the pants. Good, chest is still open, shoulders are down and away, facial muscles are relaxed. We're strengthening our knees, our hips, our heels are hugging closely together as we work through the ankles. Lots of facilitation from the core here. And then let's adjust it. So we're going to go into some heels together on V position. Knees are in line with your shoulders. So we want to keep that tracking in more of our frame. Our frame is our body. So we don't want to externally rotate outside our frame. So you want to keep those knees in line with the shoulders. It's a really nice starting point here. And mainly because my focus is to really work on strengthening through those hips. Beautiful job. Exhale with every breath. Inhale to bring it back in. And then we're going to move into a little bit of heels on, nice and wide. Flex those feet and then pull that right leg into the attitude position, pushing strongly and firmly through that left heel. So your right leg holds tabletop, but it's more and externally rotated. So that knee should face outward at an angle here. Good. And notice here what's happening with your hips. Do you feel like one hip is lifting off the carriage? And how do we want to fix that? How do we want to realign the pelvis there? Good. Let's lift and kick up 3 times. 4 and 5. And bring it back home. Good. Other side. Let's just repeat that. So staying wide on that foot bar. Right heel is on. Left leg comes into attitude. Exhale, pressing firmly through the right heel as if you were pushing a heavy box away. You can feel the co-contraction between the back side of your thigh and the top of your thigh here. And this is all great work as we strengthen through those knees. Our knees need to be strong. And in order to strengthen them, we want to get those thighs activated here. Beautiful. Completely engaged. Equal pressure and weight. Go ahead and kick it up for 5, 4. Really open out the back side of the knee here. Exhale, 2 and 1. Good. Bring it back home. You got it. And then let's go ahead and find our toes on and back parallel. And we're going to go into a progression of calf raises. So drop those heels under for that first stretch. Bend the knees to come back in. And now we'll drop the heels under 2 times. So we lift and then we lower it again. And this is it's one of those exercises that just sort of creep up on you and you're like, what just happened here? So our next one is 3. So 3 calf raises, bend those knees, pull back into start, press out. We drop the heels for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knees, return home. And it's about 5 or 6 when you really start to feel that burn here develop through those calves. You might even feel them through your toes, depending on where it is that you are feeling a little bit more weaker in the body. Pull back in. Beautiful, nice and long. As you open up through the front of the hips here, you're dropping and lifting. Good. Not bouncy. So really control the momentum of your heel raise. Perfect. Bring it back home. Exhale, we press out. We drop the heels and lift 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Hang in there. 5. Good. Make sure all those toes are equally pressing in to the bar. 7. Pull it right back in. Good job there, guys. Shake it out however you need to. Maybe pause this, stretch out your calves, and we're going to take the headrest back down again because we're not done with that lower portion of the body. So we're going to get into some bridging. So adjust the heels on the foot bar. Take an exhale as you articulate the spine up, just as we did in our warm-up. And then roll that spine down, and hopefully the spine feels a little looser. And of course, if you want a more challenging bridge here. You can adjust down to your toes. And the goal here is to keep the carriage quiet, which can be a difficult thing to do. Exhale, scoop that belly, squeeze through the glutes. Really hug those butt cheeks together as you engage, working the whole back side of the body here. Nice. Pressing down with those arms. Open up the chest wide. Soften your jaw, lift those hips up, take that hold, and reach up with the right leg for me. Let's drop it down and lift. Just tiny minimal pulses here as you really allow the toes to reach towards the ceiling. How many pulses can we get through? The goal is 10. Good. And then set that foot back down again. Readjust, left leg lifts up again, and we drop, we dip and lift. Now, as you're going through this, pay attention to the foot that's on the bar. Is it splaying out or is it going in towards the midline? We want beautiful tracking. There you go. And from here, hold it there. If you still have it in you, keep those hips elevated, pressing in and out for extension. Hopefully we're not cramping. Good. And just encourage your hips to lift up a little higher as you drag that carriage back in. And this is working, again, the whole backside of our body, nice and strong through those butt cheeks, hamstrings, calves. Good. Even your triceps should be activated, feeling the warmth developing here as the fingertips reach away from the upper body. Beautiful. Bring it back home. Pulse it up. Squeeze those glutes. You got it. Those hip thrusters. And this is where the power lies. This is where it really gets good, right? Because you can definitely feel this. Draw those ribs together. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. Excellent. Think about pulsing upward, not downward. Last set here. Just 10 little pulses upward. Beautiful. Just finishing it off. Press away. Pull in. Little pulses in and out. Of course, this series is really going to feel the heat develop. So if you need to take breaks in between these variations, feel free to do so. If you can hang in there, this is such good work for our hips and for the sculpting of the back of the legs here. Beautiful job. Sit yourself up. We're going to go ahead and take it to a little bit of seated arms and abdominal muscles. So I'm going to move myself down to one medium spring, which is a red on the balanced body. And then grab a hold of your handles. If you do have your loops on, feel free to go a little heavier. And as you're holding your arms out long, scoop that belly, tuck that tailbone, and then hold and open and close. And roll yourself back up again. Just allow the straps to kind of peel you back up without really letting it guide you. Good. Open wide. Pull your arms back together. Articulate as we sit up nice and tall. Nod the chin. Scoop the belly. We round it back. We open the arms out to a T. And we close. We return back up again. Good. Toes are pointing the other way. Heels are just hanging off the headrest. So if you're a little too far up, adjust so that your heels are just hanging barely off the headrest here. Good. And deep breath. Drop that chin. Scoop the belly. Articulate. Open wide to a T. Close the arms. And then turn the palms down for me. Lift the arms into a high V. Good. Lift to a high V. Shoulders are going to stay down. So you want to keep your arms in more of the frontal plane, the front of your body. They don't want to go behind you. Make some circles. Can we draw some nice big circles from the shoulder socket as we keep the torso quiet here? Mobilize the shoulders here. Lubricate the joints. Again, work within your range. And then let's open it up to a diagonal as we add a little rotation. So one arm goes down, one arm goes up. Just really sending this reminder that you're working the back of the shoulders. The abs are supporting you here in this C curve. Beautiful. And I love that the handles allow for that just automatic openness. Return back up again and then pull those hands in towards your chest. Open your arms out for rowing back one. Squeeze behind you, nose to knees, return as you circle the arms up. So we take a pull in. We exhale, we scoop through the belly. We inhale to open. We exhale, dive nose to knee. Squeeze those arms behind you if that is allowed. And return yourself back up again. Draw those fists in towards your chest. Bring the arms with you as you scoop. Open wide to a T. Palms are open, nose to knees. Dive it down. Get that hamstring stretch. Mobilize the shoulders as you return back up. You got it. Scoop. Open it wide. And there's a lot of steps. This is always a tricky one. So again, take your time. If you need to rewind and play back because it does go a little quicker, feel free. Open wide, but it's so nice. The feeling of the hamstring stretching, the shoulders getting work, the abs playing a huge part. It's all really nice. So let's switch it up to bicep curl. Single arm here. So left foot in the headrest, right leg is bent. I doubled up on the straps here. So they're in my left hand as I have not adjusted the spring tension, but feel free to make those adjustments on your own. And keep your elbow just connected to your thigh right above your knee as we just really think about the palm coming towards the shoulder, co-contracting through bicep and tricep. Puff your chest up, get a little taller. Think of balancing a book at the top of your head here. Good. It's about 10 repetitions on one side. When you're ready, let's switch right foot on the headrest, left leg can bend. Handles in the right hand, sit up nice and tall, puff your chest. Exhale. We go ahead and bend that elbow. Nice. Beautiful job. And we're doing some single arm work here, which is really nice because we don't have the other side assisting us, so we can really focus on the unilateral work here. The goal here, again, is to create symmetry in our body, which we seldom do have in our postures. Good. And then set that down. So from here, let's go ahead and get into a little bit more full body work. We're going to go into a reverse knee stretch where the knees are supported up by the shoulder blocks. We're going to take our hands on the rails of the wooden frame, thumbs on top. Adjust your shoulders so they're over the wrist. And then from here, as you keep it quiet, your knees are just drawing very slightly in towards the chest, but they never go very far. So you want to keep your torso super quiet. Now you can get a little bit of hip flexors involved here, especially if you have a tendency to be a little over tight. But really minimize the hip flexor use. Let's really pay attention to the abdominal muscles. So scooping that belly as much as you possibly can. Work the backside of your body. It's really easy to feel the arms here working. So just take your time as you practice those, and then we're going to get into a little oblique version. So the knees will just sway over to the left here. Just the feet are hanging off, and it's just this tiny crunch, like you're pinching the left obliques together. Beautiful. Again, small movements. It doesn't have to be very big here. Small movements. Exhale. Exhale. Keep breathing. Shoulders away from those ears. As if someone was putting their hands on your shoulders, drop them. Good. Because we don't want to overly tense through the body, because then the next thing you know is that you're feeling more of your shoulders working and less of what we were needing to actually benefit from, which was the obliques. Beautiful. Long lines through the back of the neck. Exhale. Keep those knees hugging together. It's like your lower body is independent from the upper body, and just notice how that feels. Good. Keep breathing. Doing great. And I love these because you really can't cheat them out. So it's a really nice oblique variation. So from here, I'm going to stay on the same spring tension. So I'm still in that one red, one medium, and we're going to do a little balance work as we go into some seated footwork. So find your place on your foot bar. Let's take a genie position with the hands. Toes are on the carriage, and we're going to exhale to press out. Again, this is super easy to allow the torso to lean forward. So do yourself a favor, take your time with this, because the goal is to really sit up tall, shoulders over the hips, keeping your ear over your shoulder. We don't want to lean into it because then it gets easy, right? But it should almost feel like you want to lose your balance in a sense. And again, that's where the abs have to play the part. They have to work. They have to co-contract with our deep back stabilizers. And as you're breathing, you're using your diaphragm. Think of lifting up from your pelvic floor. Those are the 4 elements of the core here that we want to integrate. Now heels together, toes apart, toes are still on. And flip your genie arm. So whatever hand was on top, flip it so it's on the bottom. Good. Puff that chest up. You got it. It's probably not the most comfortable position sitting on the foot bar, but again, do what feels best for you. And maybe you're not able to extend the legs out all the way, and that's okay. That's what's so wonderful about Pilates, is that we can track our progression, and everything is supposed to be deliberate. It's supposed to be controlled and slow. If you're moving fast, we're doing something wrong. Good. And then bring it down. Nice. Let's go ahead and carefully step off. Take it into your mermaid stretch. So zigzag those legs. Allow your shin to be supported by the shoulder blocks. If you have any shoulder injuries, take it down on the spring tension. And just reach over for that nice side stretch. Good. Just shining those ribs up towards the ceiling. Just feeling this sense of stretch through the rib cage down into your external rotators of the hip. And then if it feels good for you, circle the arm around. Get a nice stretch through the shoulder. Maybe it even feels like you're deepening that lateral stretch here, which is kind of nice. And then when you're ready, you can reverse it, just about anywhere from 2 to 3 of these arm circles. You got it. And then from here, just go ahead and gently lift yourself up. And then we can turn ourselves around to the other side. Zigzag those legs. And take it all the way over, allowing your body to become parallel to the floor. Good. As you bring it up, just really encourage the height of your spine to get longer. Good. Reach it up and over and hold it here, adding those arm circles if that felt good for you. You can totally eliminate it. Beautiful job. Holding it there. Let's go ahead and bring yourself to the opposite direction. Taking those breaths in. We have another stretch after this, but really allowing yourself to just take in the work that you've done. So as we kneel, you can have knee pads if necessary. Take a nice kneeling lunge, and I like this because it gets really good into the hip flexors here. So as you send the carriage back, thrust your hips forward and really puff your chest up higher. And then you can take it into your hamstring stretch, but square off the hips. So think about the left hip going back and the right hip forward. Good. Nice strong arms as we press away, and we can switch it to the other side. Just hold for that deep hip flexor stretch. Hands are firmly pressing against the foot bar, and take it into your hamstring stretch. Good. Making this a little bit more active as you press in and out. Another duration of holding. And just thinking about all the Pilates principles that we use today, the balance, coordination, flow, our awareness, concentration. These are the things that we want to take into practice in every single time we do Pilates. So let's finish it with a couple roll downs. And just check in with yourself. How are we feeling? Shoulders down and away. Restack, rebuild the spine, roll the shoulders back. One more time. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. and leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and please feel free to share if you haven't subscribed. Hopefully you do, and I'll see you next time. If you're interested in free giveaways and raffles, go ahead and shoot over to Instagram and make sure to follow us over there to see the latest that we've got to offer.